Well, hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, everyone, to the Exodus House LLC Growth Builder, Growth Plan, Growth Reaching Your Potential webinar. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to have a great, great time. I want to thank everybody for tuning in right now. We're going to move forward. We're just going to get this thing going. We're talking about the laws of growth, the laws of growth. Continue to work on your growth plan. We couple of organizations. It was about. Let me mute my man right quick. All right. Okay. Um, So, we started off a couple of weeks ago, started about the law of intentionality. The law of intentionality, where you have to intentionally want to grow. You have to intentionally want to have a growth plan. Hold on 1 second. Let me do here. Just want to make sure everybody is muted. Mute. Oh, okay. Okay, there we go. Okay, so well, thank you guys for tuning in once again. Like I said, to reach your potential, you need to have a growth plan. So we're talking about the laws of growth. The first law of growth, again, what we're talking about, intentionality. You have to really want to be intentional about growing. You have to have an intentional mindset about growing. And when we talked about there was a reason for people not growing based on their past, there's a gap from your past to your present, from your present to your future, and we was dealing with all those different types of gaps, and you can go back, read the replay, look at the replay, and get all those things that we had. But the law of intentionality, you had to intentionally want to make a change. Had to intentionally grow. You had to intentionally transition to intentional growth. Making the transitioning from intentional growth. Some of the things you had to ask the big question now. Ask your big questions. The questions that you have to ask yourself. Where do you want to go in life? What direction do you want to go? What's the furthest you can go? What's the furthest you can go in imagining where you can go? Okay? Let's talk about do it now. Stop putting stuff off, right? Just do it now. We talked about face the fear factor. Some of the fear of failure, fear of trading security for the unknown, fear of being overextended financially, fear of what others will say or think, fear that success will alienate peers, which is crazy, which is not crazy, which is reality. You know what I'm saying? Number 4, change from accidental to intentional growth. Don't just really what you think is going to happen. So let's get into today's. We started a little bit about the laws of awareness. We started a little bit about that yesterday. We talked about a gentleman named Mr. Henry M. Mr. Henry M. He had epilepsy, and they did this operation on him, and had to take certain things out of his brain, and everything else was good, but he couldn't remember anything. What he did yesterday, that's all he remembered. And he would go back to the same time. We would go over and over. So he never had a clear-cut direction. So what we want to talk about, do you have a sense of direction? See, only thing he could remember was what he did. When he moved to a new house, he kept going back to the old house. So do you have a sense of direction? So that's the question right now. Do you have a sense of direction? And we talked about Henry M. So, any person who wants to grow but doesn't know himself, and in many ways it's just like Henry M. Not remembering, starting over every day, not having a direction. To grow, you must know yourself. Remember, the law of awareness says you must know yourself to grow yourself. You must know yourself to grow yourself. The law of awareness states that. So any person who wants to grow, you have to first know yourself. You have to know your strengths. You have to know your weaknesses, your interests, and your opportunities. So I said it again. You got to get to know yourself. You got to get to know your strengths. You got to get to know your weaknesses. You need to know your interests, what you're interested in, and what opportunities are available for you. You must be able to gauge not only where you've been, right, but also where you are now. Not only just where you've been, you got to gauge, you got to understand where you came from, right? And where you are now, because we're talking about growing. Otherwise, you cannot set a course of where you want to go. If you don't know where you were, if you don't know where you are now, how can you set a course of where you want to go? So these are some of the foundations that we're starting to lay. We have to lay these foundations. And of course, every time you learn something, right? I'll say this again. Every time, of course, no matter. Every time you want to learn something, right? Every time you want to learn something, you must be able to take the new thing you have learned today and build upon what you learned yesterday to keep growing. So a lot of times you go into these workshops, you go into things like this, right? And what happens is that you just go for that day, or you go for this workshop every week, and you learn something, but you never take what you learn and build on it. You never start incorporating it into your life. You see, you have to build upon what you learned yesterday so you can grow, so you can keep growing. That's the only way you can gain traction and keep improving yourself. Learning something yesterday, and building it in your life for today. Okay? So to reach your potential, you must know where you want to go, right? And where you currently are. You need to know where you want to go and where you currently are. And we're going to be saying things redundant. It's just going to come out differently because we're trying to impart this thing to you. Because without both of these pieces of information, you're liable to get lost. If you don't know where you were and where you currently are, you'll get lost. You got to have that information. Knowing yourself is like reading. You're here, right? You're reading something. You're here like a map, and you want to find your way to a destination. Okay? You see where you are right now, right? But it's like a map. You have to see where your destination is. I observed that there are really only three kinds of people when it comes to having direction in life. There's only three type of people. Three type of people when it comes to having direction in life. Okay? Let's start with the first one. People who don't know what they would like to do. I said it again. People who don't know what they would like to do. These people are confused because they don't know what they like to do, don't know what they want to do. They're just totally confused. They lack a strong sense of purpose. Okay, when you don't know what you want to do, you're totally confused. You lack a strong sense of purpose. They don't possess a sense of direction for their lives. Not knowing where they want to go. If they are growing, they are unfocused about it. Even if they grow, they're not focused on growing. We talked about accidental growth. It's more or less accidental growth. They dabble, they drift, they can't reach their potential because they have no idea what to shoot for. Wow. Think about these things. Number two, the second kind of person. Right? The second kind of person. People who know what they would like to do, but don't do it. People who know what they like to do, but don't do it. Okay, hold on one second. Give me 1 second. I need to send out. I need to send this out to somebody just seen. So, number two, are people who know what they would like to do, but don't do it. See, unlike the person who don't know what to do, don't know what they like to do, they don't have a sense. But people who know what they want to do, excuse me, I shouldn't be eating my gum. I mean my mint, but I'm drying my throat. But I'm just waiting real quick because I need to send out an invite to somebody on the webinar. Never put anything in your mouth when you're doing a webinar. Okay? Never. Hold on. Whew. Give me 1 second. Okay. All right. So, hold on. Let me see what we got in chat here. Oh, I know you're here, Mr. David. I know you're here. Okay. So I just had to send that out. Let me just throw this out as a disclaimer. Look, I need you guys when you want to. I need you to really to register the day before, because a lot of times people are registering Saturday morning. I don't notice it. I don't see it. So I really need guys to register the night before, the day before, 2 days before, but register, excuse me, early. So situations like this, I don't have to deal. I don't have to go through to make sure someone pays for something. And then I got to send it out to them that day. Okay. Number 2, people who know what they would like to do, but don't do it. Okay? These people are usually frustrated. These people are usually frustrated. Why? Every day they experience the gap between where they are and where they want to be. Remember we talked about the intentionality, that there's a gap from your past to your present, from your present to your future. Okay? So that frustrates you. You know, you experience the gap where you are and where you want to be. Sometimes they aren't doing what they need to do because they're worrying. Sometimes people who don't do what they want to do, they're not doing it because they're worrying that it might cause, watch this, cause them to neglect other responsibilities, such as providing for their families. Sometimes they aren't willing to pay the price to learn, grow, and move closer to where they want to be. So a person that knows what they want to do and just don't do it, you know, there's something stopping them from wanting to do it. Being that they don't want to take the time to do it, being that they don't want to invest in themselves, being that it'll take from something else, okay? But you have to sacrifice to understand where it is you want to go, where it is that you exactly want to go, okay? Sometimes, like I said, you know, they're not willing to learn. You know, I talk to people all the time, and they ask questions about certain things, but when the opportunity comes to learn, to grow, and to move closer to where they want to be, everything else gets in his way. Okay, everything else
I
gets.
can hear him now.
Okay,
I just did like that so that when he.
Go ahead. I'm listening. Did you say
Mr. Ray,
something?
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, you can hear me. Yeah, I was just talking to my dad.
Oh, okay. Let me.
Okay, no problem.
Let
Go
me.
ahead.
Oh yeah, my dad.
What, Mr. David?
My dad bought these headphones the other day, so now I can hear you. I can talk to you now.
Okay. All righty. I'm gonna put you on mute. We have Brother
Right.
Donnie that just came on. Like I said, I want people, if you guys can register the day before, so I don't, a lot of times on the day of, I don't see it. So we're moving forward. So we talked about number two. Well, let's recap real quick. Somebody knew. One, people who do not know what they would like to do. Those type of people become are confused. Now we talk about the second type of person. People who know what they would like to do but don't do it. Those are the ones who's frustrated. Now let's go with the third type of person. The third type of person is people who know what they would like to do and do it. I'll say it again. People who know what they like to do and do it. Remember, we're talking about the law of awareness. You must know yourself to grow yourself. Okay? You have to have a sense of direction. So there are three type of people, like we talking about. The third type of person is people who know what they would like to do and do it. The third kind of people know themselves, possess a strong sense of passion, are focused and purpose, grow in areas that help them move closer to their purpose and do what they were created to do. The word described here is fulfilled. The people who do the things that they need to do are the ones who fulfill, the ones who take time out, the ones who invest in themselves, the ones who sacrifice, the ones who are forever learning. They're like big picture thinkers. And we talk about the 4 L's, the ones that learn, listen, look, and live. They're always learning, they're always growing, they're always intentionally doing something every day to grow. They focus on their purpose. They have a passion. They have not just a passion, a strong sense of passion, are focused and grows in areas that help them move closer to their purpose. That means they stop doing things that don't add value to their life, right? And they start understanding everything they do add value. They understand that they were created to do a specific thing, and those specific things that they do, right? There are specific things that they do that adds to their purpose. But you, like we told you before, you can reach goals, but don't be successful. But if you grow, you'll reach your goal and be successful. So these are the three types of people. You have to determine which one that you want to be. One, people who don't know what they would like to do. Two, number one person, they're confused. Number two, people who know what they would like to do but don't do it. They're frustrated. And number three, people who know what they do and like to do it, they are fulfilled. So when you talk about a few situations like Henry M., that's like an extreme situation, to have operation and don't remember nothing. But most people seem to fall in the first category, fall into question number one, people who don't know what they like to do. They don't know what they want to do. I believe the main reason is that they don't know themselves as well as they should, and thus remain unfocused in their growth. So when you're not understanding who you are, right? When you're not understanding where you come from, where you are now, then you can have no sense of direction of where you want to go. Okay, so you'll never grow personally. Remember, this is reaching your potential through growth, through personal growth training. Okay, knowing yourself isn't necessarily an easy thing for everyone to do. Everyone can't know themselves. Don't figure out who they are. Let me read something from Woodrow Wilson. He wasn't a great, a real racist president, but here's a statement that he made. We live in an age disturbed, confused, bewildered, afraid of its own forces, in search not merely of its roads, but even of its direction. There are many voices of counsel, but few voices of vision. There is much excitement and fervent activity, but little concern of thoughtful purpose. We are distressed by our own ungoverned, undirected energies and do many things, but nothing long. It is our duty to find ourselves. See, when we don't know who we are, when we're not finding ourselves, we're always going from to the fro. We're starting one thing, we're stopping one thing. We're confused, we're bewildered. We have no passion for anything. Excuse me. Now, he wrote this in 1907. So what happened if we wrote something like this today? What would it be? So many people always tossing to and fro, doing this, doing that, because we never take time for our personal growth. What makes finding ourselves and growing to our potential difficult? Why is it so difficult for us to find ourselves? Why is it so difficult for us to have personal growth? It's got to be a catch. There's a catch 22. Is that what they said? There's a catch 22, right? because it's not easy. It's not easy, you know, finding yourself or understanding yourself or knowing yourself, because that means you have to deal with yourself. You have to deal with some issues in yourself. You know, one of the reasons why I'm so adamant about this, you know, I don't teach stuff without personally dealing with the stuff I got to deal with. We all have to deal and find out who we are, and then make the corrections to do what we need to do. Look, you have to know who you are to grow your potential. We're talking about personal growth and growing into your potential. Without really understanding who you are, how can you grow into your potential? But you have to grow in order to know who you are. So watch this. You have to know who you are to grow to your potential, but you have to grow in order to know who you are. So what's the solution? I'm here, there, you know. I need to grow, but I need to know who I am. I need to know who I am, and I need to grow. So what's the solution? You have to explore yourself as you explore your growth. Explore yourself as you explore your growth. Look into yourself, be part of yourself, examine yourself. The way to start is easy. Pay attention to your passions. How do you explore yourself? Pay attention to what the passions that you have. When you're passionate about something, it doesn't matter what nobody say. It doesn't matter what nobody do. It doesn't matter, you know, you can't sleep at night. The only thing you do, you can't nothing sway you from this thing. That passion, you know, pay attention to your passion. For me, that started when I focused my growth, right, on ministry and growth development and entrepreneurship. See, there's 4 areas that is represented by passion. 4 areas. You can write this down. There are 4 areas that is represented by passion. Relationships, equipping, attitude, and leadership. I'm going to say that again. There are 4 areas that are represented by passion. Relationships, equipping, attitude, and leadership. My passion led to my growth. I had a passion for guys coming out of prison. I had a passion for people coming off of substance abuse. I have a passion when somebody calls me when I'm on a webinar. But listen, what happens is passion will lead you to your growth. But your growth will lead you to your passion. Let me say that again. Your passion will lead you to your growth. But your growth will lead you to your passion. Because what will happen is you'll discover the love and the ability for leadership. Remember the 4 things I talked about: relationships, equipping, attitude, and leadership. When you start getting your passion, when you start developing your passion, and you start growing, you grow into your passion grows into you. And then look, your personal leadership, the major focus on your love and your ability leads you to start leading areas in your life. This is like a major focus of my personal growth for years. My passion to grow, and my growth leads to passion. Other areas that passion and purpose revealed include faith, family, communication, and creativity. I'm going to say that again. Other areas that passion and purpose is revealed include in faith, family, communication, and creativity. All these continue to be important parts of my life where I love to learn and love to grow. You have to get to a place where you love to learn and you love to grow. You love to learn, you love to grow. All of a sudden, non-value things you stop doing. Things that are not adding value to your life, you stop doing. Things are not adding growth to your life, you stop doing. So let me ask the question. How to find your passion and purpose. How to find your passion and purpose. So let's talk about that for a little while. Because how do you find your passion and purpose? We're talking about passion, we're talking about purpose, we're talking about transitioning, we're talking about all these things, but how to find your passion and purpose? Because no one ever gives us the answer. They tell you got to grow, you got to go to get passionate. Like I'm telling you, you got to be passionate to grow. But how do you find your passion? How do you find your purpose? You have a purpose, and God has a purpose and plan for your life. How do you find that purpose? How do you find that plan? How do you find that passion? Psychotherapist Nathan Burnett assessed the first step towards change is awareness. The second step is acceptance. If you want to change and grow, then you must know yourself and accept who you are before you can start building. So understanding the first step to passion and purpose is awareness. The first step is awareness. The second step is acceptance. Being aware, right? It says, if you want to change and grow, then you must know yourself. You must be aware of who you are, of everything about yourself, good, bad, or indifferent. It doesn't matter. The second step is acceptance. Accept who you are before you can start building. Whatever issues, whatever good things, whatever bad things, whatever character defects, whatever it is, just accept it about yourself. Because that's the place, right, where you now start having a foundation to start building your growth plan from everything that you're aware of about yourself. So here are 10 questions to help you start working through that process. Make sure you have your pencil and paper down, but then also you get to use the replay. So we're probably only going to make it through 5 of the steps today. But here are the, questions today. Here are the 10 questions to help you start working through that process. Remember, we're talking about how to find your passion and purpose. That is, got that heading there. And then we're getting ready to talk about how to find your passion and purpose. One, awareness of who you are and everything about yourself, good, bad, and indifference, and acceptance of who you are, right? So here's the process. First question, do you like what you're doing now? Do you like what you're doing now? I'm amazed by how many people I meet every day who don't like doing what they do for a living. You want to hear something funny? People can't stand the job that they at, but pray that they don't get fired. I'm gonna say it again. People don't go to that same job every day, but they pray every day that they hope they don't get fired. Something that they don't like to do, right? So why do they do it? Why would a person continue to go to a place and continue not be want that place and then go there every day? I understand that. Watch this. I understand the necessity of having to make a living because you go because you gotta pay the bills. We've all done jobs we didn't love. I had plenty of jobs that I didn't like. I remember I was in college. We was in this pottery place, man. Right? We was in this pottery place. One person found out they was hiring. It was from 12 midnight to 7 in the morning, right? So one person on campus found out. All you have to do is go there. So we all went over there. About 10 of us went over there and got a job. I don't think none of us last past 2 days. Right? So we all did have jobs we didn't love. Philosopher Abraham Kaplan noted, excuse me. So think about some of the jobs you had that you just stayed on. Think about where you're at right now, that you might be doing some things that you really don't want to do. So philosopher Abraham Kaplan noted, if as Socrates says, the unexamined life is not worth living. The unexamined life is not worth living. So the unlived life is not worth examining. Wow. We're talking about awareness. You're not examining your life. The unexamined life is not worth living, right? And the unlived life is not worth examining. If you're not enjoying what you do for a living, you need to take some time to examine why. Why don't you like what you're doing? What is it you keep doing it, but why don't you like it? Is it a risk making a change from what you're currently doing to what you want to do? Is it a risk? Sometimes not taking a risk is a risk. I'm saying it again, sometimes not taking a risk is a risk. But of course it's a risk. Why? Because if you change from what you're doing to do something else, it's a risk, because what happens if you fail? You might find out that you don't like it as much as you expected. When you want to try something new, I'm going over to this new job, or I want to start this thing, right? There's a possibility that you can fail. You might find out that it's worse than where you came from. You might not make as much money. But isn't there a risk at where you're at now? You can get downsized, you can get fired, you can get a pay cut. So it's a risk either there, you can fail where you're at, or you can fail somewhere else. Okay? So at some point, we have to examine ourselves and ask ourselves, why are we still in a place where we don't enjoy, that we're not doing anything, that we're not, there's no passion, there's no purpose, right? Or worst of all, you might come to the end of your life feeling feeling a regret for never reaching your potential or doing what you love. Which risk would you rather live with? The fact that you didn't take a risk to do what you wanted to do, that has the passion and purpose for your life, or not taking a risk and staying at a place, and your greatest talent will always be in the cemetery where you land, along with some of the best, some of the most talented people in the world are still in the cemetery. So question number one, do you like what you're doing now? Got to take a look at that. If you don't like what you're doing now, examine why you keep doing it. Number two, what would you like to do? Number two, what would you like to do? Remember, we're talking about how to find your passion and purpose. How to find your passion and purpose. The first thing you have to do, question number one, do you like what you're doing? Examine what you're doing and why you're doing it. Number two, what would you like to do? There's definitely a direct connection between finding your passion and reaching your potential. I'm going to say it again. There's definitely a direct connection between finding your passion and reaching your purpose. Got to examine. Got to awareness of who you are and accept who you are. Because there's a connection between finding your passion and your potential. Journalist Marilyn Bartimeau says this: every successful person I've met has a strong sense of his or her unique abilities and aspirations. They're leaders in their own lives, and they dare to pursue their dreams on their own terms. I'm going to say that again, because this last part is real important. Every successful person I've met have a strong sense of his or her unique abilities. Unique ability. When you talk about awareness, understanding what is your unique ability and aspirations. Because we're talking about connection, finding your passion and reaching your potential. There's a connection between the two. So you have to understand your unique abilities and your aspirations. You're a leader of your own life. You're pursuing a dream on your own terms. They're not allowing people to dictate to you how you're supposed to do what you're supposed to do, that God created you to do. The only person dictating that is the purpose and plan that God has given for your life. He has given you the roadmap, and you're doing it on your own terms. Have you found and harnessed your passion? And you got to answer these questions. So as you're writing this stuff down, these are questions that you have to answer. Have you found and harnessed your passion? Now, Do you know what do you know what you would like to do? We're still asking, what would you like to do? Do you know what you would like to do? Do you know what you would like to do? When you do, when you find out what you like to do, it makes all the difference in the world. Why? Because when you tap into your passion, it gives you the E and E. What is E and E? Energy and excellence. When you tap into your passion, it gives you the E and E, energy and excellence. Watch this. You will never fulfill your destiny doing work you despise. You can stay on that job until whoever you believe in come. I happen to believe in Jesus Christ. You stay on that job until Jesus Christ come. And guess what? You will never reach your potential. Next, passion gives you an advantage over others because one person with passion is greater than 99 who only have an interest. See, if you only have an interest in something, but if you have a passion for something, people have an interest for things, but a passion, right? A passion, you have an advantage over people because nothing can stop you. Nothing's going to sway you. Nothing's going to move you. Good, bad, in different days. Nothing. Look, you're going to still stay focused for that passion that's in your life. And passion gives you energy. It's like you can work, like I always say, entrepreneurs work 80 hours so they don't have to work 40 because they have a passion. And that passion gives them energy to go on. When you seem like you get tired, is that you get that second wind, you just keep pushing, you keep pushing, and you keep pushing. How do you know what you want to do? These are questions that we have to answer. How do you know what you want to do? How do you tap into your passion? Here's the answer. Listen to your heart. These things are not complicated. Look, just listen to your heart. Pay attention to what you love doing. Most of the time, whatever you love doing, that's the purpose that God has you on this earth. Not what you like doing, not what you have an interest in doing, but what you have a passion for doing. That you eat, drink, and sleep this thing. Listen to your heart. Pay attention to what you love doing. I'm going to read you something from Pulitzer Prize winner journalist Thomas L. Friedman. This is what the author, Thomas L. Friedman, he's a Pulitzer Prize winner. So whatever you plan to do, whether you plan to travel the world next year, go to graduate school, join the workforce, or take some time off to think, don't just listen to your head. I'm going to say that again. Don't just listen to your head. Listen to your heart. It is the best career counselor there is. Do what you really love to do. And if you don't know quite what that is yet, well, keep searching. Because if you find it, you'll bring that something extra to your work that will help you ensure you will not be automatic or outsourced. Meaning, let me finish this. It will help make you an untouchable, whatever it is that you want to be. Untouchable radiologist, untouchable engineer, an untouchable teacher, whatever it is that you want to be. When you follow your heart, that gives you that passion, people can't touch you. If you never figure out what you want to do, you will probably be frustrated all your life. You see, a lot of people look and listen to this. A lot of people be doing the replay. And here's the thing. When it's time to invest in yourself, when it's time to do certain things, the worldly distractions will continue to pull you. The worldly distractions will continue to keep you doing stuff you despise until you have an awareness and accept who you are and what you are no matter what, right? Where it gets you today. When you will overcome fears, you will correct problems. If you figure out, if you never figure out what you want to do, you probably will be frustrated all your life. Let me tell you another author. Arthur Covert said, Stephen Covert observed how different our lives are when we really know what is deeply important to us. Say that again. How different our lives are when we really know what is deeply important to us, and keeping that picture in our mind, we manage ourselves each day to be and to know what matters most. Knowing yourself and what you want to do is one of the most important things you'll ever do in your life. Knowing yourself and knowing what it is you want to do, the passion and purpose. Your heart will lead you to that place of passion that will lead you to that sense of purpose, why you were created on this earth. You weren't just created to get up every day, go to work 9 to 5, go to work 9 to 5, pay the bills, even though you need to do those things. But those things aren't what you were created to do. It's so much more in you. There's so much more if you examine yourself and really touch it. The fact that you're taking this on this webinar, the fact that you're at this replay, it tells you something. Our next question is, can you do what you would like to do? Can you do what you would like to do? First question was, do you like what you're doing now? Second question was, what would you like to do? Third question is, can you do what you would like to do? Because there's a big difference between having a dream that propels you to achieve and pulling the idea out of thin air that has no connection with who you are and what you can do. Think about give you a little story. Guy was working at this other job, doing real good. And his mentor came up to him and said, "You don't look happy with what you're doing." So the guy said, he said, "I want to be an announcer for the Chicago Cubs." He had a passion, had a dream to be. Had a dream to be, or a passion to be, announcer for the Chicago Cubs. The only problem was he didn't qualify, and then there wasn't no position open for him. That's why we say there's a difference between having a dream that propels you to achieve, right? A dream that propels you to achieve, right? A dream that propels you to achieve, and pulling an idea out of thin air that has no connection with who you are or what you can do. A business venture that serves no purpose at all because you just think you can make money off of it, but you have no passion for doing it. You must have some kind of criteria to know, for knowing if the desire matches your ability. If what you desire, does it match the ability that you possess? Or you think you just grow into it? I mean, growing and just it's like people have these organizations and they get these grants, and a grant comes down, and they don't really do everything the grant says, but because they want to get the grant, they'll say they can do certain things, and then when they get the grant, they realize the other stuff that they don't have the capability to do. So there has to be your desire. Your desire has to at what point there has to be a criteria. When you look at that idea, when you look at that dream, right? Does it match your ability? So Warren Bennett has also developed something to help people with this issue. So here's 3 questions. Ask yourself to identify what you want to do, if what you want to do is possible. Ask yourself this: Do you know the difference between what you want and what you are? I'm going to say it again. Do you know the difference between what you want and what you are? These two things don't always match up. I believe that was the case that's the case in a whole lot of people's lives. You know, you might want it. This guy who wanted to be the announcer, he might wanted to be the announcer, right? But what he could do was totally different than what he had to do to become that announcer. See, you might want to do something, but it's totally different than what you can be, than what you can do. To be successful, you need to be doing what you're good at, not just something you think that can make money, not something that because it's a trend, not something because everybody else is doing it. But you have to be successful. You have to be good at what you're doing. The second point: do you know what drives you and what gives you satisfaction? Do you know what drives you and gives you satisfaction? Because you could be, things could push you and push you and push you, but you get no satisfaction in doing it. You're just doing it out of habit. You're just doing it because everybody else is doing it. You're just doing it because you think it's an end to a means. See, what motivates you needs to line up with what satisfies you. I'm gonna say it again, because this is the most powerful combination that you have. Your motivation and you're satisfied. So whatever motivates you, it should line up with what satisfies you. What drives you should give you satisfaction. What pushes you. When you get it, you should be satisfied. You shouldn't have to want more. You should be satisfied. Third principle: do you know what your values and priorities are, and what your organization values and priorities are? Say that again. Do you know what your values and priorities are? Priorities. And what your organization values and priorities are? The more you can align these two, your values, right? The more you can align the values and the priorities in your life, the greater chance of success that you have. Measuring the difference between what you want and what you're able to do, what drives you and what satisfies you, and what your values and those of the organization reveals many of the obstacles between you and what you want to do. Your obstacles are in those areas. What areas are you talking about? What you want and what you're able to do. What you want and what you're able to do. The obstacles that stops you because you're not able to do what some things that you want. Some things that you're driving for is not satisfied you when you get it. Some values that you have, the business or organization that you with, cause it's not where it should be. And there's obstacles between you and what to do. And when you get to that point, the question you need to ask yourself is whether you're able to overcome them differences. See, there's things that's causing differences that you need to overcome, right? You have to ask yourself, can I overcome this obstacle that's in my life? Can I overcome the fact that I want this, but I don't have the ability to do this? Can I overcome the fact that this thing is driving me, but it doesn't satisfy me? This thing, the values of this thing and the priority of these things aren't the values and priorities that I want. And how do I overcome these things? One of the main keys, I'm going to say this, one of the main keys to being successful and fulfilling your purpose is to understand your unique talents and find the right area in which to use them. Where are the places that you should be using your unique talent, your unique gifts? You have to find the right place, because every place that you think is supposed to be there is not always supposed to be there. You want to add something to something that nobody wants in an area, in this particular area, right? You have to find the right place, the right area for your gifts to shine, for your talent to shine. The right place where you can use them. You see, some people have an inherent ability to know who they are and who they're not. I was at a men's breakfast this morning, and a couple of guys were like, man, you know, no matter this, but I know who I am, and I'm good with it. This can happen, but I'm good with it because I know who I am. That's the place we have to get to. I'm okay with this. But other people have to work at to figure that out, to find that. And some of us have to work hard to discover who we are. This doesn't happen by osmosis. Poet and critic Samuel Johnson observed, watch this, almost every man wastes part of his life in an attempt to display qualities which he does not possess. I'm going to say that again. Samuel Johnson observed, he's a great poet and critic, almost every man / woman wastes part of his life, in attempts to display qualities which he does not, she, possess. Your goal should be to waste as little of your life as possible. You're trying to be or do something that you're not. We try to do and be something that we're not qualified to do. A former major league catcher named Jim Sandberg says, discover your uniqueness, then discipline yourself to develop it. When the awareness of who you are and everything, and accepting who you are, discover your uniqueness and then discipline yourself to develop it. Develop your growth plan. Understand this. Okay, we're going to get ready to get out of here. Listen, I want you guys, the assignment you have for answer your questions. Do you like what you're doing now? What would you like to do? Can you do what you would like to do? Go over the replay so you can get these questions down if you didn't write them down. And we're going to get ready to get out of here. We'll be on part 2 of identifying awareness. Part 2 of identifying awareness. Don't share the video with people. This is for your personal self, right? Share the workshop with other people that they can come in. They can get the back replay and catch up. But we're on awareness. Be aware of who you are and accept the things about yourself so that we can get an understanding who we are, that we can start doing the things that we want to do. Understanding we can only do the things that we have the ability to do, not going outside of ourselves and who we are. But we first have to discover our unique gifts and become disciplined and develop the things that we have in our life. So I'm going to get with you guys next week. This is your guy, Ray Wilkerson, coming to you live all the way from here. Where's here, right here? Hold on, I see the due date for the assignment is Wednesday at 8 o'clock. It will always be Wednesday at 8 o'clock. Email it over to me. Thank you, Brother Donnie, for tuning in. If you have any questions, just text it on out, and we're going to be moving forward. Thank you, my brother. I love you. And listen, Jesus loves you, God loves you, and I love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. Peace out.